Imagine you could buy a country. Not the land, not the people, just one structure, one object that sits inside it. And you had to name your price. What would you pay for the Great Wall of China? A structure so long it crosses 15 provinces, built over 2,000 years, the largest thing human hands have ever made. What about the Colosseum in Rome? Nearly 2,000 years old, still standing, still pulling 7 million visitors a year through its arches. Or the Great Pyramid of Giza, the only surviving wonder of the ancient world, built 4,500 years ago, so precisely engineered that modern architects still can't fully explain how. These are not hypotheticals we usually allow ourselves to think about. These monuments feel beyond price, sacred, permanent, belonging to all of humanity. But economists, consultants, and valuation experts have actually tried to answer the question. They have put real numbers on these structures. And those numbers are stranger, more complicated, and more interesting than you might expect. Today we're going to price 3 of the most famous structures ever built. We'll look at what they cost to build originally, what they'd cost to rebuild today, what they generate economically every year, and, perhaps most fascinatingly, what they're worth in ways that no spreadsheet can fully capture. Let's start in Egypt. 4,500 years ago, with a pharaoh who wanted to be remembered forever. Khufu was the second pharaoh of Egypt's 4th dynasty. He ruled for roughly 27 years, beginning around 2589 BC. And he wanted a tomb. Not any tomb. A tomb that would be the largest structure ever built. A tomb that would align precisely with the stars. A tomb so permanent that it would outlast everything, not just his lifetime, but his dynasty, his civilization, and the very language his people spoke. He achieved it. The Great Pyramid of Giza contains approximately 2.3 million stone blocks. Each one weighs an average of 2.5 tons. Some of the internal granite blocks weigh up to 80 tons, and were transported over 900 kilometers from Aswan along the Nile. The total mass of the structure is around 6 million tons. It was built by a workforce that modern archaeology estimates at around 20,000 skilled workers, not slaves, but organized labor who left behind their own tombs, graffiti, and records of their beer rations. They were paid workers. They ate well, and they built the tallest structure on Earth, a record the pyramid held for nearly 4,000 years. So what would it cost to build today? Architects and engineers have done the maths. According to estimates by French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin, using modern construction equipment, this project would take around 5 years and cost roughly $5 billion. Later inflation-adjusted estimates put the figure closer to $7 or $8 billion. For context, one World Trade Center in New York cost about $4 billion. That's the reconstruction value. The market value is a different question, and a more complicated one. Egypt's tourism industry contributes around 11% to the country's GDP. The pyramids at Giza alone draw more than 14 million visitors to the plateau every year, making them one of the most visited sites on the African continent. Hotels, transport, guides, restaurants, souvenir markets, and the new Grand Egyptian Museum contribute to an economic ecosystem around a structure completed 4,500 years ago. But the truth is, the reconstruction value and the tourism value are almost beside the point. The Great Pyramid is not worth $5 billion. It is not worth $50 billion. It is worth whatever Egypt's entire economy would lose if it disappeared. And then some. Because no country that loses its defining symbol ever just loses a building. It loses something much harder to rebuild than stone. In the year 72 AD, the Emperor Vespasian began constructing what would become the most iconic building in history. It was a gift to Rome, a place of spectacle, violence, entertainment, and politics, all rolled into one overwhelming structure. It was completed by his son Titus in just 8 years, with the engineering and tools of the 1st century. It seated between 50 and 80,000 people, larger than most modern football stadiums. For 400 years, the Colosseum hosted gladiatorial combat, staged animal hunts, and public executions. Historians estimate that over 1 million animals died inside its walls. The cultural imprint is permanent. Today, the Colosseum is the most visited monument in Italy. Over 7 million people visit every year. And in 2022, Deloitte published remarkable findings on its economic valuation. The Colosseum contributes approximately 1.4 billion euros directly to Italy's GDP every year through tourism. It supports about 42,700 full-time jobs, dependent on its ongoing existence. But Deloitte went further. They asked Italians how much they would pay per year to ensure its preservation. The average Italian said 59 euros a year. Multiplied across about 50 million adult Italians, that produces a figure of roughly 2.9 billion euros per year, what people would willingly spend. Deloitte's total estimate included a social asset value of approximately 77 billion euros. A building that is nearly 2,000 years old, yet worth so much more than its economics. This study shows we cannot ignore existence value, the worth of something simply because it exists, regardless of direct benefit. It is the value people place on the Colosseum and on having it just because. Here is a number worth sitting with. 21,196 kilometers. That is the confirmed length of the Great Wall of China. It winds through mountains and deserts, constructed across centuries by different dynasties. For context, 21,196 kilometers is roughly the distance from London to Sydney and back again. The wall was not built at once. Construction began under the Qin dynasty around 221 BC and extended under the Han and Ming dynasties. It was a complete border management system with watchtowers, garrison towns, and communication relays. What would it cost to rebuild today? Analysis by Big Rents estimated that replicating the full wall at current rates would cost approximately $42 billion. But what is the wall actually worth? Valuation expert Bharat Kanodia estimates the Great Wall at over $400 billion. That figure considers not just reconstruction cost, but economic value, tourism value, and what he calls the cultural multiplier, how the Great Wall amplifies the value of Chinese history and identity. The Badaling section of the wall alone sees over 10 million visitors annually. It generates approximately $2 billion each year in tourism revenue. However, only about 8% of the Great Wall remains in good condition. Around 30% has disappeared entirely. The wall, standing as the largest structure ever built, remains a powerful symbol of identity. So, let's compare the structures. The Great Wall comes out highest in most metrics: scale, tourism volume, annual revenue, and total estimated economic value. The Colosseum has the most rigorous valuation at approximately $77 billion in social asset value. The Great Pyramid has deep history and engineering mystery, though its economic contribution is smaller. Three different kinds of value are at work. First is replacement cost, the costs to physically rebuild. For the pyramid, somewhere between $5 and $8 billion. For the Colosseum, comparable figures are complex. For the Great Wall, north of 40 billion. Second is economic use value. Each structure generates revenue through tourism and employment. The Colosseum contributes 1.4 billion euros a year. The wall, about $2 billion. The pyramids sustain a significant part of Egypt's GDP. Third is existence value. This is harder to measure. It represents value just because something exists. It is what connects us to these structures beyond economics. Three structures, three civilizations, three questions that turn out to be the same question. They are worth much more than numbers, more than revenue, social assets, and estimates. They symbolize the best of humanity, what we can achieve when we work together across generations. The question is not what these structures are worth to the economy. The question is what they would cost us if they were gone. If this video made you think differently about what we build and keep, leave a comment. Share which structure you'd most want to visit. A like helps others find this video, and subscribe for more content like this each week.